Let's unpack this with Brigadier General Mark Kimmitt, who joins us now live from Washington. He's a former Assistant Secretary of State for Political Military Affairs. He spent 9 years as the military assistant to the NATO commander in Belgium and leading U.S. forces in Germany. Thank you very much, General Kimmitt, for joining us here on TRT World. You know, the last time I spoke to you, we were talking about the ongoing fighting between the Russians and the Ukrainians, Russia's invasion of the eastern side of Ukraine. At the time, the idea of a nuclear disaster was a far-fetched concern. But now it seems that concern could become a reality. How concerned are you about a potential nuclear disaster in Ukraine?
Well, I don't think we can dismiss it out of hand. I think we've got to stay vigilant, but I also believe that the chance of that happening remains a very, very low probability. As I've said often, Putin started off as an autocrat. He became a dictator, but I don't think he's a madman. He understands, with his great sense of history, that he would be the man that ended not only the Russian Federation, but the nation of Russia. And I don't think he wants to take that risk. Then
what do you think Putin is trying to achieve by accusing Ukraine of planning to use a dirty bomb?
Oh, as Obeda said, I think he's using that as a pretext to justify this strategic bombing campaign that he started, where he's no longer simply attacking battlefield targets, but he's now doing a massive assault on the infrastructure inside of Ukraine, much like the Nazis did in 1940 in the Blitz against London. And candidly, I think he will be as unsuccessful as Hitler was.
So it's quite possible, you think?
I don't think it's possible for nuclear confrontation, no. I think he will continue, as Obeda said, to use his suicide drones, to use his cruise missile, to use his strategic bombing campaign. But I don't think that if his goal is to bring the civilian population inside of Ukraine to tell its leadership to end this war so we can turn the heat back on, that's not going to be accomplished by a nuclear exchange. That's going to be accomplished by continuation of the strategic bombing campaign that he has started.
General Kimmitt, you know what's mind-boggling here is the fact that nobody knows when this war is going to end or what are Russia's main objectives. I remember when Russia announced this so-called military operation, one of its primary objectives was to liberate, in their words, the areas of Donbass. And when we look at the current situation, Russia has already annexed 4 major parts of the eastern side of Ukraine. What more does Russia need to achieve before President Putin announces the end of his so-called military operation? Or that's something we will never figure out?
Oh, I think it's quite clear. What he needs to have is that the 4 annexed provinces are no longer under threat of military attack by President Zelensky and the Ukrainian armed forces. If Zelensky went to the negotiating table right now and gave away those 4 provinces and Crimea, I think at that point Putin would be ebullient. He'd declare victory and he would call himself one of the greatest leaders in Soviet and Russian history. But he can't declare victory now because those 4 provinces are being attacked by the Ukrainian armed forces every day. How do you declare victory when what you claim as victory, which is the annexation of these 4 provinces, is under dispute and under threat by the Ukrainian armed forces?
General Mark Kimmitt, it's always a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.